will share my screen. You can go ahead, we'll read the article. We'll make sure that we understand all the words and phrases in the article. And then we're going to talk about architecture that we like. Talk about certain buildings that we like. And we'll take a look at some different buildings. So before we begin, I would just like to know, are you interested in architecture? Is this something that you really like? Well, let's find out here. Christopher, are you very interested in architecture?
Yes, hello. In my city has a lot of art people. The people has a story of the lot, the different places.
All right, well, thank you, Christopher. Right. And Danae, what about you? Are you interested in architecture?
Hello?
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
Hello. Yes, interesting online city and different architectures on my friend. I study in architecture.
Yeah, you're interested in architecture. You like architecture.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Omar, what about you? Are you interested in architecture?
Yes, in architects, I have two from with friends, architects. Yes, in Guanajuato, I in this moment in Vallarta. I am studying here in Vallarta. My family lives in Guanajuato. Guanajuato is the same architect.
For architecture.
Monumental. Yes. I am sorry by
You're fine, don't worry, Omar. Thank you.
Okay.
Excellent. Trung, what about you? Are you interested in architecture?
Yes, I'm very interested in architect because it's great and it's now with the modern architect and many building or construction very beautiful.
Yeah.
But I am sometimes I'm still some old architect and very special. Yes.
All right, thank you, Trung. Warren, what about you? Are you interested in architecture?
Yes, but I don't have much time to go to visit something like the architecture, but I think it's very interesting and beautiful.
Thank you, Warren. All right, very good. And Armando, what about you? Are you interested in architecture?
Yes, I like. When I have 13 years.
When I was 13.
When I was 13 years, I was architect. I want architect. But,
oh, you wanted to be one? Yeah.
Yeah, but I am systems engineer.
Oh, okay. Different path later on. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you, Armando. Okay. Excellent, everyone. Very good. So what we are going to do now, like I said, is first we're just going to listen to this article. And we're going to listen 2 times. After that, I will share my screen. Okay? We're going to practice our listening first here. Plug my speaker in, and here we go.
UNESCO on Sunday listed famous Swiss architect Le Corbusier's work among its World Heritage Sites. The list includes the Indian city of Chandigarh, which Le Corbusier planned in the 1950s. The picture shows the assembly building of Chandigarh.
Wait, one more time, and then I'll share my screen.
Yeah.
UNESCO on Sunday listed Franco-Swiss architect Le Corbusier's work among its World Heritage Sites. The list includes the Indian city of Chandigarh, which Le Corbusier planned in the 1950s. The picture shows the assembly building of Chandigarh.
All right, so here's the title. Let's have a picture as well. Let's go ahead and we'll play the article and then we can.
UNESCO on Sunday listed Franco-Swiss architect Le Corbusier's work among its World Heritage Sites. The list includes the Indian city of Chandigarh, which Le Corbusier planned in the 1950s. The picture shows the assembly building of Chandigarh.
So, as I said, now we're all going to practice our pronunciation, and everyone's going to get a chance to read the article. Okay? So, kind of work on our pronunciation. So, let's start at the bottom. Let's go here. You, Warren, would you please read the article for us?
Yes. UNESCO on Sunday list Franco-Swiss architect Le Corbusier's works among its World Heritage Sites. The list includes the Indian city of Chandigarh, which Le Corbusier planned in the 1950s. The picture shows the assembly building of Chandigarh.
Excellent, great pronunciation, yeah. And yeah, this is French, so this can be pretty hard to say. It can be hard to speak. So if it's difficult, don't worry. It's because it's not English. It's another language.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you did great, you are. Thank you. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's keep going. Trung, would you also read for us?
Yes. UNESCO on Sunday listed Franco-Swiss architect Le Corbusier's work among its World Heritage Sites. The list includes the Indian city of Chandigarh, which Le Corbusier planned in the 1950s. The picture shows Amberslide building of assembly building of Chandigarh.
Excellent, great job. Thank you, Trung. Omar, would you also please read?
Yeah. Okay. UNESCO on Sunday listed from a Green article. Le Corbusier's works among its World Heritage Sites. The list includes the Indian city of Chandigarh, with Le Corbusier planned in the 1950s. The picture shows the assembly building to Chandigarh.
Thank you, Omar. Good job.
Thank you.
Danae, would you also read for us?
Next on Sunday listing Franco-Swiss architect Le Corbusier work among its World Heritage Sites. The list includes the Indian city of Chandigarh, with Le Corbusier planned in 1950. The picture shows the assembly building and Chandigarh.
Excellent. Thank you, Danae. Good job as well. Christopher, would you also read for us? Christopher, don't forget to unmute your microphone if you're there.
Yeah,
Oh, there we go.
I have one problem.
Oh, no problem.
UNESCO on Sunday listed Frank, well, Architect, architect Corbusier awards a month this war 38. The leads included the Indian city of Chandler the Corbusier planet in the 1950. The pictures show the assembly building something.
Have no wisdom. Good job. Thank you, Christopher.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And last but not least, Armando, would you also read for us?
Yes. UNESCO on Sunday listed Franco-Swiss architect Le Corbusier's work among its World Heritage sites. The list includes the Indian city of Chandigarh, with Le Corbusier planned in the 1950s. The pictures show the assembly building of Chandigarh.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Great job, everyone. Just a couple things. Here we say Swiss. Now, it can be a little difficult. Yes, Swiss. And the last one that I would say sometimes here, I know there's an E, but we say planned. Planned. Like, let me type it how we say it. We say it like this, planned, for example. This is how we pronounce it, planned. But yeah, excellent job talking about architect. That's a hard word. Le Corbusier, that's even hard for me. So great job, great job. So, as we know, this architect, he has lots of buildings in the UNESCO World Heritage Site. We have this building here. Really quickly, gotta take a look at this building. I want to know, what do you think about this? Do you like it? Do you think it's maybe a little strange? Is it interesting? What's your opinion about it? Warren, what do you think about this building?
I think it's strange because the roof, the top of the building is strange,
It is, yeah, it's very
not
unusual.
normal.
Right.
And I don't know if on the how to call the pool.
Oh yeah. I think it's a pool, maybe, yeah, or a pond, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's very unusual. Absolutely. Thank you. Trung, what do you think about this building here? What do you think about this architecture?
Yes. This architect is old, but it's a trend, and I think it's very special. And in the past, I think it's a big building in the past.
Yeah. Right. In the past, it was considered really big. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you, Trung. Omar, what do you think about this building?
The building is light. I like.
You like it?
I like it. It's interesting. It's the big, architect. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, thank you, Omar. Today, what do you think about this building?
Interesting to your forum. Here. The shape on the.
Shape, yeah, it has an interesting shape, exactly.
It's a big. And the location for the water.
Yeah, that also makes it a little interesting because it looks like there's more below. So, excellent, thank you today. Christopher, what do you think about this building here?
Okay, the culture and the imagine, yes. For me, I think was this one monument. Is for security.
Oh yeah, it could be. If we can see a guy with a gun here. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. That can represent for your security of your country.
Of the country, yeah. India, right? See here a little
Yeah,
Indian
India.
flag. Yeah. All right, interesting.
Good.
You like it? Okay. All right, thank you, Christopher. And Armando, what do you think about the building?
It's beautiful picture and it's very big.
Yeah.
I think that for the country in the state is commonly this architecture.
This architecture, yeah, maybe. Yeah, especially in the city, I think it's very common. All right, thank you, Armando. Very good. All right, now, so first, if you have any questions about this article, please let me know. I want to make sure that we understand everything. But if we're okay, I want you to tell us about an interesting building that you know. Maybe some interesting architecture. Maybe in your city, or maybe in another city. So let me give you an example so we can begin. In a city very, very, very close to me, there's a very interesting building called the Space Needle. I live close to Seattle in Washington. And let's go to images and I can show you. This is the Space Needle. It was built in the 1960s. It's an interesting architecture, right? Very unusual. There's a restaurant up here and it turns, and you can also visit the Space Needle and see the whole city, in the water. It's very beautiful. So this is some interesting architecture that I would like to share with you. Warren, can you share with us any interesting architecture? And it can be, like I said, in your city. It can be anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter.
Okay, in my city, the new one on the King Power, building is a middle. I don't know how to call. It's on the top of the building, and you can stand on the middle.
Oh, really? Oh, that sounds interesting. If you can type, everyone, if you can type your building, then I can try and find a picture. If you want. You don't have to.
I don't know the name. Okay.
That's okay. Don't worry. Like I said, if you want. If not, just describe it. That's okay. And Warren, what is this building for? Is it like for a company, or is it just an interesting building for the city?
It's a company, and I think it's for travel and for see the view at the top of the building.
Okay. All right, excellent. Thank you, Warren. And Trump, can you tell us about any interesting architecture?
Yes. In my city, we just have one building, and the architect very better, and it's a landmark 81.
Can you type it for us?
Yes.
Because I'd love to take a look. Landmark. Oh, here we go. Looks like.
Yeah. It's
wow.
It's a building tallest in Vietnam, and in the world it's 14th.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Wow, yeah, it's so much bigger than everything else in the city. Look at that.
Yes, and in the night, many color, beauty, light color.
Yeah, look at that.
Yes.
Different colors in it. Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that looks great. That's really interesting. I bet if you can get up top and look, the view is probably spectacular.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Trump. Omar, can you share any interesting architecture with us?
I like the Museo Sumaya, in Mexico, in the Sumaya.
Like,
Sumaya.
oh, here we go. Whoa, wow, that's an interesting building. Okay. Oh, wow. And you said this is,
Okay.
this is a museum?
It's the Mexico Museum, yes.
Wow. Wow, look at that. Yeah, that's very unusual. I like it. I like it. Oh, wow. Is this a new building, Omar, or is this an old building?
No, it's maybe 50 years.
Okay, 50 years ago. Yeah, 50, sure. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, very interesting. Very good one. Thank you for sharing that, Omar. I like that. Very, I think what we call modern, very modern architecture. You know, like 50 years ago, we call that modern. Well, thank you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but what look like, for example, modern architecture? It's a style, very unusual, right? Very not typical. So I think maybe a little modern. Possibly. All right, let's see here. Oh, thank you, you are. Let's take a look at. So name is King Power. Okay, let's take. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah, oh, that's scary. That's scary. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. That might be a little much for me, but that is extremely interesting, and that would make me nervous, but I think it would be fun too. You know.
Yes, if you were scared of the height, it's good.
Oh, very cool. All right, I'm glad you found it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Danae, can you share any interesting architecture with us?
Interesting the construction for the College of Fine Arts in Mexico.
Okay. What is the name again today? What can I type?
College of Fine Arts in Mexico.
Well, I couldn't hear the first word. Hold on. Fine Arts. What was the first word? Palace.
Palace.
Oh, palace. Oh, wow, that's very beautiful. Look at that. That's gorgeous. And it's also another art museum, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Mexico City has really a lot of very interesting architecture. Excellent. Thank you, Danae. No, this is very beautiful. I wonder how old is it? How old is this building? 1934. Excellent. Thank you, Danae. Christopher, can you tell us, can you share some interesting architecture with us?
Yes, in Mexico, the region.
Is there a specialty? Is there something in particular?
Is one shirt.
So it's not a building? Oh, it's a church. A church. Okay. Oh, that one's also very beautiful. Very big, right? It looks huge. Very big.
It's a good.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Christopher. Okay. All right. Excellent. Well, very good, everyone. You had some very, very interesting architecture that you shared with us. Right, well, we are coming here towards the end of the lesson. We only have a couple minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and review. But once again, if you have any questions about any of the words or phrases in this article, or anything else, like I said, I would love to answer any questions. If you have any other interesting architecture you want to share, I have a minute. But if not, I'll just go ahead and quickly review what we did in the lesson today. So today we've been talking about architecture. We listened to and we read and we spoke this article here. UNESCO lists Le Corbusier's works among the World Heritage Sites. We talked about this building here, what we thought about it. So, it's a very unusual building. Very strange, very large, and it has an interesting pool next to it. After we discussed this building, I asked you to share some architecture. And we had some really, really, I think, interesting architecture. We had some churches, right? We had a few very interesting museums, fine art museums. A lot, actually, very interesting architecture in Mexico City, as we learned. Also in Thailand, we had the skywalk. We had very, very scary, big building there. So thank you, everyone, so much for coming today. Thank you for talking about architecture. I know we're a little interested in architecture. It can be difficult to discuss it. You did a great job. And you also shared some very interesting buildings. So thank you so much for coming today. It was great to talk to you. And I hope to see you again soon in another lesson. So thank you and take care. We'll see you next time.
Yes. Bye, teacher.
All right. Goodbye. Take care.